Welcome to IAS project. In this video, we are discussing Mesolithic Age. This is the second video for Mesolithic Age. Let's talk about the features of Mesolithic Age. What I mean is, what did people do and how did they live in the Mesolithic Age? First, let's look at the subsistence base, that is, what food they ate. During Mesolithic Age, hunting and gathering was followed. This was the main source of getting food for Paleolithic Age people. However, there were changes in hunting and gathering when we compare it to Paleolithic Age. The first change was that there was a shift from large animal hunting to small animal hunting. So basically, in Paleolithic Age, the people hunted large animals, for example, mammoths. However, in Mesolithic Age, people hunted small animals, for example, deer, rabbits, and all these. Fishing was also practiced in Mesolithic Age. Another important development that happened in Mesolithic Age was the invention of bow and arrow. This is very important from the point of view of prelims exam. Arrows were invented because now microliths were invented. We will talk about microliths shortly so you can understand how microliths helped invention of arrow. Another way of getting food for Mesolithic people was by making traps and snares. So with the help of these traps and snares, they could trap the animals, and once they are trapped, they can catch them, kill them, and eat them. So this was all about subsistence base of Mesolithic Age people. Please remember that these people were mainly hunters and gatherers. Let's look at what type of clothing they have worn. They did not grow any cotton. You must remember this. Again, this is important from prelims exam point of view. If we look at the history of growing cotton in India, or let's say within the subcontinent, cotton was probably first grown around 9,000 years ago in place called Mehergarh. Mehergarh is basically located in Balochistan, and Balochistan is in Pakistan. So if they did not grow cotton, they could not have worn cotton clothes. So what did they wear? They wore animal hides basically. Hide means skin of animals. So they wore animal skins to protect themselves from the weather. So they did not have any cotton clothes and animal hides were worn. If we talk about house building, they did not build any houses. They did not have the technology of house building. So where did they live? They lived in natural caves and rock shelters. For example, in central India, they lived in Bhimbetka. Tools is very important from the point of view of prelims exam. During Mesolithic Age, microliths were invented. Microliths were basically the characteristic or the most distinct tools from this period. So whenever you hear the word microlith, you have to associate it with Mesolithic Age people. And what were microliths exactly? Microliths were nothing but very small stone tools. The size was almost 5 centimeter, or you can say 2 inches. And they used these microliths as tools as well as for making other composite tools. For example, arrowheads, spearheads, and others. What do I mean by this? Microlith itself was used as a tool. For example, if there is a small blade and the size is, let's say, 5 centimeters. This is called as a microlith blade. Or what they did was they made an arrow, and in front of the arrow they put a small microlith tip. So this was a sharp microlith tip. Now this has become a composite tool. Composite means having more than one part. One part is microlith and the other part is a wooden stick. Similarly, they also made spearheads. They took a spear, which is basically a piece of wood, and on the top they put a microlith like this. Now this can be used as a spear. Microliths were basically miniature stone tools. Miniature because they were small in size. And microliths were usually made from cryptocrystalline silica, chalcedony, or chert. You don't have to go into what is cryptocrystalline silica or chalcedony or chert at this point, because this is not a geography lecture. But you need to understand that microliths were made from these mineral stones. And microliths were made in geometrical as well as non-geometrical shapes. What do I mean by this? Geometrical shape can be, for example, a rectangular blade. This is a geometrical shaped microlith. Or I can say trapeze rectangle or a trapezium. This is a sharp edge. Or something like this. So this is called a lunate microlith. So microliths were made in geometrical shapes like rectangular blade, trapeze rectangle blade, or lunate microlith blade. They were also made in non-geometrical shapes. What do we mean by this? For example, if something is like this and this is a blade, this is not a straight line and this is also not a straight line. then it would be called as a non-geometrical shape of microlith blade. So basically this is only for your understanding purpose, that microliths were both of geometrical as well as non-geometrical shapes. Another important feature during the Mesolithic age was that microliths were sometimes buried along with the burials of the dead. Now this is a very new feature because in our previous videos we did not discuss about burials of dead or the practices of burying dead in Paleolithic age. But when we talk about Mesolithic age, now we are discussing the burial practices, which means that this could be related to the beliefs of the people. So if microliths were buried along with the dead, this may mean that they believed there was life after death, and once they live again, they may use these stone tools to protect themselves or whatever they want to do with them. This is basically a hypothesis because we did not have any written records from the time, so we don't know 100% what was their belief. And in Mesolithic age, Paleolithic tools were still used. For example, hand axes, choppers, cleavers, blades, burins, scrapers, borers, points, double-sided blades, which we have discussed in our previous videos. They were still used even in Mesolithic age, although microliths were invented and microliths were very widely used in Mesolithic age. If we talk about pottery, pottery was usually not used in Mesolithic period. So if there is a question in prelims exam, pottery was used in which period? And the options are Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, Iron age. The answer would be Neolithic age, not Mesolithic age. However, we find some very rare Mesolithic sites which had remains of pottery. For example, Langhanaj in Gujarat and in Kaimur region. Kaimur region, as we have discussed, near Kaimur hills, that is eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, in Uttar Pradesh near Mirzapur district, and in Bihar, that is Kaimur district. Here we have some sites where we have found pottery. If we talk about agriculture and animal domestication, then agriculture and animal domestication was usually not done in this period. Okay, only at the end of Mesolithic period we find some evidence of origins of very primitive plant cultivation as well as animal domestication. If we talk about animal domestication, the first animal to be domesticated was probably dog. So agriculture and animal domestication are not associated with Mesolithic age. They are associated with Neolithic age people. So even though very primitive plant cultivation was done at the end of Mesolithic period, we must note that Mesolithic people were mainly hunter-gatherer culture people. So if people are hunter-gatherers, they could not stay in any area for relatively long periods because they have to move along with the animals they are hunting. However, we can say that since primitive agriculture or primitive plant cultivation and animal domestication has begun, compared to Paleolithic age people, these people stayed at an area for a relatively longer period. So I hope you understand this logic. Let's look this once again. Paleolithic people were constantly moving. Mesolithic people mostly moved, but the movement of Mesolithic people was less than Paleolithic people, and the movement of Mesolithic people was more than Neolithic people. Neolithic people started to do agriculture, so their movements were very less compared to these two. So if there is a question in prelims and a statement is given like Mesolithic people led a settled life, that statement will be false because they did not lead a settled life. They were hunter-gatherer people and they were moving with the animals which they were hunting. Let's talk about cave paintings in Mesolithic age. In our previous video, we have talked that cave paintings first started in Upper Paleolithic age. But during Upper Paleolithic age, the number of cave paintings done were very less. So cave paintings proliferated during Mesolithic age. What do we mean by proliferated? Proliferated simply means the number has increased rapidly. So many cave paintings were done in Mesolithic age. For example, we have sites like Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh, Karwad, Jaora and Katotia in Madhya Pradesh, Sundargarh and Sambalpur in Odisha, Eluthu Guha in Kerala. And what were drawn on these paintings? It was mainly animal hunting scenes, gathering of fruits and honey, and some social activities like community dances, depictions of family life, and other common themes were drawn in these paintings. This is important from prelims point of view. Along with these themes, we also see some fist prints, hand prints and fingerprints. So basically Mesolithic people also drew today's emojis. Just a joke, a bad joke. A photo of Bhimbetka rock shelter paintings is given here. You can see the paintings were made in red color. You can see people are holding something like a spear here. And these drawings are basically linear representations. That means inside is not filled. They are drawing using lines like this. This is an animal, something like this. And humans are drawn like this. Let's talk about Bhimbetka rock shelter paintings. This is very, very important from the point of view of art and culture. And art and culture is not separate subject from ancient Indian history. So you have to study both these together. Bhimbetka rock shelters are located in Vindhyan range. They are located almost 45 kilometers south of Bhopal city. At the same time, we have seen that Bhimbetka is located towards north of Narmada, or you can say right bank side of Narmada. The rock shelter complex has almost 800 rock shelters within an area of 10 square kilometers. All these rock shelters do not have paintings, but almost 500 of these rock shelters have cave paintings. And where were these paintings done? They were mainly done on ceilings as well as walls of these caves and rock shelters. Please imagine how they would have done it on ceilings. And why would they have done it on ceilings? Bhimbetka cave painting started almost 30,000 years ago, which means they started in Upper Paleolithic Age. And even after Upper Paleolithic Age, they continued to be drawn in Mesolithic as well as Neolithic and even periods after this. What were drawn in these paintings? Mainly animals, birds and human beings were drawn. They used so many colors like white, yellow, orange, red ochre, purple, brown, green and black were some of the important colors. They also mixed these colors and used them. They got these colors mainly from rocks and minerals. For example, they got red color from ochre. Ochre is nothing but an iron ore, which we call it as hematite in English. In Hindi, we call it as geru. They got green color from chalcedony. Chalcedony is basically a mineral stone. Similarly, they got white from limestone, black from charcoal and similarly other colors also. So this was about their paint. What about their brushes? They used plant fibers as brushes. For example, they broke a small twig from the tree, okay, and they crushed this. Now this has become like a brush. They dipped this brush in this color and then they painted it on the cave walls and cave ceilings. So the color came from rocks and minerals. They ground them into powder. Once the powder was made, they mixed this powder with water, gum or animal fat. So now the color has become a paste type of paint. Now they used plant fibers and they dipped it into this paste and they painted on the cave walls. When they applied this paste on the walls of the caves and rock shelters, what happened was this paint underwent a chemical reaction with the minerals in the cave walls. Basically oxidation reactions. So because of these oxidation chemical reactions, what happened was this color kind of became permanent now. So even after thousands of years, we can see these paintings very clearly. For example, these paintings which we have shown here are believed to be almost 30,000 years old. So even after 30,000 years, we can see the paintings in red color very clearly like this. This is mainly due to the chemical reaction between the rock minerals which were used in the paste and the stone of the cave wall itself. In Bhimbetka paintings, the themes were mainly hunting scenes, dancing, music, animal fighting and other household scenes. So this is very similar to cave paintings which were done in Mesolithic age in other sites also. So you don't have to study what were the themes of cave paintings in each individual site. Please remember these general themes during any Mesolithic cave paintings and you will do well in the exam. You can download this presentation on our Telegram channel. You can watch this video in Hindi at IAS Project Hindi YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.